Okay.
My microphone is have some problem.
Yeah. Okay.
I cannot hearing you. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So please mute it.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. So we will start the session, a closing session, solidarity for sustainable and resilient city in the new normal. And then I will do the moderator for part one presentation. I'm Junichi Fujino from IGS Institute of Global Environmental Strategies. Then I'm a program director of the City Task Force. For this part one session, we have four speakers. Thank you so Miss Tui Tran Dan. Thank you for joining from ADB. She's a Senior Urban Development Specialist, Urban Development and Water Division, Southeast Asia Department. Also, second speaker is Miss Annie Shazlin Ismail. Hi, Annie. She's a Senior Assistant Director, Planning Department, Sharam City Council, Malaysia. And then third speaker is Mr. Armstrong Wasserson. Hi. And he's Investment and International Affairs in Department, Eastern Economic Corridor Office, Thailand. And then last but not least, speaker is Miss Soumya Chaturvedura. She's Deputy Director, ICRE South Asia Secretariat. Okay, so we have all the four speakers. Yes, very good. So then may I invite our first speaker, Miss Tui Tran Dan. So basically you have 7 minutes, but if you need to speak more, then I may ask you to maximum 10 minutes. So how do you like to start? So can you do you like to operate the slide by yourself?
Good morning, Junichi-san. Thank you very much. I have requested that the slides be operated from the Secretariat, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah. So please give the instruction to the Secretariat. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning, participants, to this very important 11th East Asia high-level seminar on sustainable cities. It's my pleasure to be here. As Junichi-san has introduced, my name is Chang Gang, and I am the Senior Urban Development Specialist from the Asian Development Bank. Today, I will be presenting to you ADB strategy on sustainable and resilient cities. And there are 4 parts of my presentation. The first one, I will discuss briefly the new needs of cities in the pandemic, in the COVID-19 pandemic. And the second part, in response to these new needs of cities, I'll be talking about the solutions for green recovery. I will then zoom in some of the interventions that we are working on in Southeast Asia region, and then I'll give you a concrete example, a case study from Makassar city in Indonesia. The next slide, please. The next one, please. Thank you. So in this slide, I will present to you the new needs for cities, and we organize the new needs into 3 areas: urban services, urban planning, and urban environment. Under urban services, you see that there are the new needs or special needs that are becoming more prominent during the COVID-19 pandemic. First of all, the informal settlements and the vulnerable populations will have their own special needs. As you can see, it's a lot more difficult for people in informal settlements to have social distancing, for example. The second one that has come out strongly is that all the water and wastewater utilities will need to continue to have smooth operations despite of the pandemic. We cannot, stop water supply. We cannot stop water sanitation services. The third one is similar. It's about the provision of water, sanitation, and hygiene services or wash services. And then, as we can see in this seminar, this is an example of how communication has changed. So the remote communication with work from home, etc., is becoming is increasing, and with that, there's also a changing travel needs. In the second box here that you can see, there are also new needs that are emerging in with regard to urban planning. So for example, spaces in commercial offices and industrial building, we need to be remodeled. How do we look at spaces? The civic institutions also need to adapt to COVID-19, and the public spaces will also need to be changed to help communities during the COVID-19 pandemic. The last box here, a very simple example, the changed needs in urban environment is the increased solid waste and medical waste. With the use of masks, of face shields, etc., plastic waste are also increasing. So how do we respond to those needs? Next slide, please. So the ADB proposed solutions will be in response to these three areas, as well as you can see here, what we call them the outcomes for urban services, for urban planning, and for urban environment. Under the urban services, we organize them into two, what we call the new normals. The first one is to enhance the social inclusiveness, improving the social protection measures for the most vulnerable groups in cities. Informal settlers is one of them that I mentioned earlier. The second new normal is about improving urban services and infrastructure with effective use of technology and digital solutions. So again, the seminar we are having is one example of that. In the second area of urban planning, we are looking at revisiting urban planning system to strategically incorporate lessons from COVID-19. What do we mean by that? I will show you a concrete example in Indonesia in a few moments. And the second part under urban planning is about strengthening the financial sustainability of local government and of utilities to build capacities of urban institutions and other stakeholders. So how, for example, how do we make the wastewater utilities more resilient in these kind of disasters? Under urban environment, we look at that from a holistic point of view, because we also need to address not only the COVID-19 pandemic, but also there are other disasters that cities have to be resilient to. So we need to focus on building healthy and environmentally sustainable cities. We also want to build resilient cities with the ability to absorb shocks and stresses due to the pandemics, disasters, and climate change. That is the overall ADB strategy. Next slide, please. Do I have a minute left? Thank you. So
you have roughly 4 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. In Southeast Asia, this is the activities in Southeast Asia is aligned with the corporate level, the ADB level, thinking on the response to the green recovery. So we realized that any activities, any interventions we have to be placed in this framework of systems thinking, of institutional effectiveness, of infrastructure, as well as a policy and planning framework. So infrastructure and service delivery is something that ADB has been supporting our developing member countries over the last 5 decades or more than 5 decades. So this is something we're very good at. But at the same time, we realize that infrastructure has to be accompanied by very strong institutions. We need to build strong institutions, and it has to be placed in an enabling environment, or what we call policy and planning framework. So some of the concrete examples here about institutional effectiveness, we need to help the institutions to build robust database, to have a very good database, to have a very good information management system, to again adopt digital solutions and strengthen the staff skills. So one example is when we look at contactless payment, how do we make sure that this may sound very basic to you, but in some of the development member countries are still in the early stage. how do we make payment without through online systems, etc., etc. Then under infrastructure and service delivery, we need to again serve informal settlements, provide potable water in a continuous way, improve sanitation and hygiene. Under policy and planning framework, we need to optimize the use of public spaces, improve land use planning, integrate social protection. Some of these activities you see that we do pre-COVID anyway, but with COVID-19, it has become even more important. In the next minute, I'll walk you through an example in Makassar City where ADB has been supporting. We are helping the city with a livable Makassar plan in which we'll integrate the city's many existing spatial plans. So next slide, please. Thank you. We will look at how to use different sets of data and analyze this data, especially to see the spread of COVID-19 and its implication on urban planning. Next slide, please. So in this endeavor, we have been collaborating with the Future Cities Laboratory Singapore, and we try to overlay different data sets. This one, as you can see, the demarcated areas here are the areas where there is a high population density, but there's also a high incidence of COVID-19 cases. So there is a relationship there. Next slide, please. Similarly, here we are looking at areas with high population density, but also area with poor water.
You have only last 1 minute. Thank you very much.
Thank you, no problem. So here you can see the areas, we overlay the areas, and there is again a relationship between COVID-19 transmission and areas with high population density and poor water provision. Next slide, please. And in this one, we do a similar overlay, but of different data set. We're looking at areas within 15-minute walking distance from transport hubs. And the reason we chose these transport hubs is because that's where there's high level of social interactions and commercial activities. And again, we see a relationship between them. So with this kind of activity, there is a potential, we realize that there's a potential relationship between COVID-19 transmission pattern and the population density, land use, the main transport hubs, the access to water and socio-economic indicators. And all of these call for the need for multi-sectoral planning for future resilient cities. I will end my presentation here and thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Tuitran. Thank you for your very comprehensive, but easy talk with the new normal. Thank you so much. Okay, then next, I'd like to invite the second speaker, Miss Annie Sharudin Ismail from Shah Alam City. So, floor is yours.
Thank you. My slide, I think they are going to. Okay. Very good morning. Hello, I'm Amy Shazrin from Shah Alam City Council. So today, thank you, moderator, for inviting us, Shah Alam, to share. So before we go to next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, so before maybe some of you don't know where is Shah Alam actually. Shah Alam is the capital of Selangor cities. For those who are not sure where Shah Alam actually is in the center of the Selangor states, which is Selangor actually is quite most developed state in Malaysia, and also 93.3% urbanization stage, and also a major contributor to the national GDP at 22.7. So Shah Alam capital, Shah Alam is about 303 square kilometers. And we are actually very in the center of the Selangor. Next. Okay, so we actually started our journey in sustainability is starting from 1998, where we start with the local Agenda 21, and then we grow from there until now. We are already in 2015, we start our journey with LCCF or Low Carbon City Framework. And in 2018, we start our project with IGES. Thank you to the Ministry of Environment and Water, CASA, and also the Plan Malaysia, who always support us in Low Carbon City project. So we have one project with UITM under this project. Next. So I would like to share. At first, we thought we just only do the low carbon city framework, but after embark with project in with IGES, we have been told to write SDG reports. So from there, we start to match our project with the SDG. That is the starting point where we know about the SDGs. So, and after we mapping it, it's like this LCCF is direct us to the SDGs more clearly. So in the LCCF, it's covered 10 SDG at least. Next. So we started our project with our town center area. So we start to calculate our carbon. At first, we just only get 12 units out of 23 units of building to participate. At the end, in 2017, we managed to get all the data. And we also now, in 2019, managed to reduce 21.15%. Next. So this is the electricity consumptions that we can collect from each building in the town center. So we managed to convince all the building owners to share the data, and we work together with them how to reduce their electric consumptions and also to reduce the carbon. Next. So after the successful story in section 14, we expand our project to section 1, which is the largest university in Shah Alam. UITM under the Frontrunner City project. So it's already complete, and we find out that this area is much easier to do because it's one management under one university. Then we sell this idea to our administration's area, which is in section 5, Shah Alam. So they are buying this idea, and now we are expands the area to the 3 government's building in Shah Alam, main building. Next. So this is what we started. How we sell the ideas is by changing our own building, which is our building is an old building, 80s building. So we transfer the building slowly, not just in one shot, and we managed to reduce to actually tell everybody we reduce about 2 million Malaysian ringgit. Next. So next, then we transfer to UITM. They also, by improving a small changes, we can actually turn the old building to the low carbon building. Next. Next. So this is the other project that we do under the Low Carbon City project and also Sustainable Development project. We are together with the community. Next. So we need the agency collaboration definitely to get the project started with the community. Next. I would say we have a very strong relationship with the community. So we have Trees for Life. This is a very interesting project. At first, we started this project, and now it's automatically been conducted by the NGOs and also the public. Next. So we still maintain our green environments, our blue moss, if everybody knows the blue moss. Next. So we also have the community projects with the communities area Shah Alam. Next. We also provide the free buses, Mat Selangor bus for our community. Next. To make sure to enhance our public transportation, and we also promote micro mobility in town area. Next. So every time we do the track bicycle or anything, we always seek for the public participation. We always do the engagement with the communities, with the stakeholders, so that we can work together to make this project successful. Next. So this is one of the bicycle lane that we provide in our town area. Next. And also bike parking. Next. So this is very interesting actually. We do some programs with the community so that each other. Okay, next. We also have the car free days. Okay, next. Next. I have a lot to share actually, but never mind, might be later on the Secretariat can share what Shah Alam initiative, but I just want to go to one slide last. Next. 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 So now next, we actually are preparing the SDGs, and this is our roadmap. We already launched our roadmap during the WOOF 10, and we actually are really focusing on our SDG, and we we plan to submit our VLR report by July 2021. So hopefully we can manage to submit the VLR report and share later on with the others. Thank you. Next.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ali. And I was in the same session when Shah Alam launched the SDGs roadmap, and it's quite great initiative from the Malaysia ASEAN. And then Shah Alam is also one of the leading cities of the ASEAN SDGs Frontrunner City program. So yeah, a lot of things. 10 minutes is too short for you. Sorry, but time is limited. Sorry. So now I'd like to invite our third speaker, Mr. Angstrom Wasusum from the Eastern Economic Corridor Office, Thailand. So over to you. Oh, so you are muting now. Please, yes. Yeah, please.
Okay. So first of all, I would like to begin by thanking Ministry of Environment Japan for giving Eastern Economic Corridor Office the opportunity to speak in this webinar. And I truly appreciate the opportunity to speak with the representative from the many countries in this webinar today. First of all, I would like to introduce a little bit about what is the Eastern Economic Corridor project in Thailand. With the case of the partnership between Thai and Japanese investors, which began in Eastern Seaboard over 30 years ago, Thailand was able to realize a rapid industrialization. But in the Eastern Economic Corridor Initiative, or EEC, as a critical component, we aim to achieve such success again under Thailand 4.0 vision. EEC project is not only focused on the industrial development, but also improving the quality of life, such as education, human resource development, and smart city development is one of the main targets of our project. EEC is an area-based development project which covers 3 provinces in eastern regions of Thailand, namely Chha Cheong Sao, Chonburi, and Rayong. And according to since EEC Act and EEC development plans was approved by the Thai government cabinet in 2018, the major infrastructure projects from developing the new ecosystem has been focused. But starting from last year, 2019, EEC development is moved to the phase 3, that target industry promotion activity has been conducted. The land use and special economic zone in EEC area was announced last year. And in the same time, the phase 4 is we aim to improve the city developments to enhance the quality of life of the people in the EEC area. And this slide shows the summary of upgrading the transport infrastructure in EEC. Within years 2027, the boat track railway will expand more than 392. And in terms of Utapao Airport development is one of the major infrastructure projects in EEC. The capacities of this airport can serve 60 million passengers per year. And there are a lot of infrastructure projects in EEC. So that's why EEC have to focus not only the industry promotion, but also the quality of life, how to manage the city, how to improve the city to serve the new industry ecosystem. And in EEC, we have 12 targeted industry. In Thailand 4.0 policy, which can divide the 12 targeted industry into 2 groups. The first group is called the first S-curve industry. That Thailand already have considerable compatibility and competitive, such as the automation, intelligent electronics, and advanced agriculture and biotechnologies. The second is a new S-curve industry that we have great opportunity and will be instrumental to Thailand 4.0, such as the automation and robotics, digital industry, medicals, and healthcare. According to within the COVID-19 pandemic, to digital by default. The second is about health megatrend. The health safety will be a business and personal priority. And the last one is about the logistics. Is one of the megatrend in terms of the accelerations of e-commerce, particularly in digital industry. In EEC, the digital infrastructure is one of the main priorities of EEC development project. Thailand just did a 5G auction to grant license for operator of 5G service in Thailand and hope to adopt the 5G network, as it will support the developments of smart infrastructure, including smart city in the EEC. And at the plan, within 5 years, 5G network, the company will construct the 5G infrastructure and provide a coverage of 50% of economic promotion in EEC. That includes a core infrastructure, industrial estate, and the smart city. 5G is the key enabler for other industry, particularly in smart city developments. 5G will be used in the personal product and service, and including the IoT appliance in the smart city developments. According to EEC Green Plan, the new city development is one of the main targets. We aim to develop the environment-friendly city in EEC area. And in the studies of reliable smart city, we did with the JB, 9 layers of city development and 7 smartness, such as the digital smart environments, has been identified down to the kinds of technology need. The smart city development is not only improving the quality of life, but also create a new business opportunity with relating targeted industry. For example, in terms of smart energy, the smart grid and renewable energy will be promoted in the new city. This slide shows the smart city development plan in EEC area. Now we have 3 projects is going on. One is EECA in near Utapao Airport City. The second is about EEC Innovation Park, and the last one is high-speed train link EECH is ongoing smart city project. EECA is one of the sample of the integration developments which concern the linkage between the infrastructure development, targeted industry, and smart city development in EEC areas. The last but not least, I would like to introduce what the collaboration between Japan and Thailand in improve the smart city development in EEC area. Currently, EEC collaborate with Osaka City under Joint Crediting Mechanism or JCM project for support the smart city development in EEC, which focus on the smart energy by using the renewable energy and developing the transport infrastructure. The activity under JCM, we divide into 2 phases. The phase 1 is promoting the efficient use of the biogas with a collaborate with Osaka Gas Company. And the phase 2 is the planning. We will focus on the improving mobility, particularly in public transportation in EEC area. And we have connect with the Toyota to improve this technology in EEC area. And the local partner is Pattaya City. So this is all the overviews of the EEC development, particularly in relate to smart city development in EEC area. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Armstrong, for sharing the very, how to say, advanced the city development, and then this is really the fit to the post-normal era. So yeah, it's quite exciting, and then we'd like to have a good discussion later on. Okay, so the last but not least, I'd like to invite the Miss Somuya Chaturvedi San, Deputy Director, ICRE South Asia Secretariat. So over to you.
Thank you, Denise, and thank you very much. I will just bring up my presentation.
So Somuya-san, can you speak a bit loudly?
Yes. Am I audible now?
So now you try opening your slide. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes, can you see my slides now? Thank you very much. A very good morning to all of you, and a big thank you to the Ministry of Environment and to IGES for having us here. Today morning, I would like to throw some light on what the new normal is looking like, and more importantly, I think what cities need to adapt and adopt in order to meet the challenges of the new normal and of course the challenges of the pandemic. For those of you who do not know ICLEI, we are a network membership organization of cities globally, working with over 1,750 local and regional governments in over 100 plus countries. We work with our members, the city regional governments, working with them on technical aspects, everything to do with promoting sustainable development and sustaining sustainable development. We work across 5 main themes on low emission development, nature-based development, equitable and people-centered development, on looking at resilience and promoting and improving circular development in the city. So these are the themes that our membership has selected for us to help them with until the next year, when we will have a new strategy again. Through our different offices globally, we are working with several cities across all the continents. Today, I would like to focus specifically on the pandemic and what some of these reasons were, and then leading to what it is that the cities could do to address some of these challenges, ensure that we are well equipped to ensure such pandemics are at least limited in the future, and what it is that we need to pay attention to going forward. So a lot of these are issues which are within the purview of local, regional, subnational governments. Deforestation, land use changes, climate change, a big aspect on looking at our economic activities and controls that need to be put in place, looking at antimicrobial resistance and all the linkages that are there in terms of what cities do, in terms of also the wastewater treatment systems, etc., and also ensuring robust health systems and practices. So if you see, a few of these are typical and falling within typical municipal services. A few of them fall within the purview of subnational provincial governments, and maybe some of them also have repercussions and impacts on national policy as well. But as far as cities are concerned, what we are seeing post the pandemic and through the ongoing pandemic is there is a severe impact on critical services. There are supply chain issues. The economy, we all know, is severely impacted. And what we have been seeing, at least in South Asia, is that our medical infrastructure is simply not well equipped to deal with challenges of such pandemics. So these are issues that our cities are dealing with while they continue to provide regular services. And we have found that resources, both in terms of manpower and finances, are significantly stretched. There are several policy responses that cities have put in place. However, there is, I think, need for support to come in from all directions, be it from the international development networks, be it the financial institutions, local NGOs, and more importantly, I think it's the local communities which need to partner with the local governments and with the subnational entities. There are issues on commuting, on transport, looking at vulnerable groups specifically, and having a policy which is targeted towards the vulnerable groups in highly dense areas where already municipal service provision is, even before the pandemic, has been limited or not very efficient. And then add on top of that also the requirements of social distancing and ensuring that communication infrastructure, the digital infrastructure is enough to support the work from home population. So the challenges and the policy responses that these challenges demand are extremely varied, and the cities have been doing their best on this. This visual just shows the myriad challenges that these cities are looking at right now. Depending upon their context, some of these have been prioritized one way or the other. Just to show you a few images of what we are seeing, and this has been alluded to also by the expert from ADB, is to look at what's happening on the waste management, looking at plastic specifically from the biomedical hazardous waste. What we see as solutions is to look at, and IJS has also been involved in this, is to look at holistic waste management solutions and plastic waste management solutions, having standardized protocols, integrating aspects of disaster management into all of these plans that some of the cities have, but many cities do not. So this is an opportunity where cities are going on planning to look at some of these issues. Water resources and supply is a huge challenge where we are seeing an additional requirement of 2.5 million liters a day, simply given the hygiene practices around the pandemic. And we already know that 40% already lack access to clean water. So looking at integrated urban water management principles, looking at peri-urban and urban linkages, looking at catchment level management and decision support tools which are built around these principles are some of the long-term policy solutions, I think, or even medium-term policy solutions that cities would need to look at. Wastewater infrastructure, this is a major challenge in South Asia. We all know that. Again, an additional 2 MLD per million people. This is a major challenge, and given that virus loads are increasing within wastewater treatment systems, is also something that we are simply not equipped to deal with the current infrastructure. and decentralized wastewater management strategies, but also enhancing technologies to look at how we can protect these systems and then their further impact on water supply also. There have been several challenges on regular services, regular health services. We have seen disruptions in vaccine systems, in health systems, and the role of transport in all of this. So what we are realizing is that there are several solutions which are based on enhancing and improving the green cover within our cities, looking at local biodiversity strategies, natural asset maps, promoting city forests, open green spaces. And this is something that could prevent in the future and also improve current quality of living. Several cities have taken action on their own right in the beginning, and Jakarta, Bogota, Seoul, sorry, the image is not showing, but all of these are cities which have already taken certain steps right in the beginning when I think nations were still putting together their responses. So there are things that could be done in the transport infrastructure, looking at non-motorized transport, looking at housing for the underserved, car-free neighborhoods, affordable green buildings that we are seeing in Kuala Lumpur. So these are things that were happening previously, but now they take on so much more importance in the context of COVID. I would like to draw your attention also to the cascading effects on subnational finance and how they're stretching the finance, but what is it the cities would need to do. While the most important that I would draw your attention to is reimagining what the city would be. Everything that we know so far has kind of been thrown out of the window by the pandemic. And there is a need for real critical analysis. What were the shortcomings? What are the major plans that need to be put in place for inclusive communities? And what is it that we should do to improve the financial resilience of our cities in wake of such challenges? We see a lot of these solutions are cross-cutting. We need to adopt and imbibe new means of financing. We are seeing the green bond market suddenly going up. We are seeing the share of Asia Pacific going up in the green bond markets, and especially of the ASEAN within the Asia Pacific, especially on the green bond market, sustainable bonds, and now also the COVID impact bonds. So this is one financing source that is gaining traction. Looking at outcomes-based financing, what is important is that the partnerships between local NGOs and local investors, and having very result-oriented programming is something that's really working well in Philippines, Bangladesh, Cambodia. This was specifically in the health sector, can be adopted to others as well. Italy itself runs a program called the Transformative Actions Program, where cities can come up with their, so to say, wish list on infrastructure resilience programs, and we will help connect with financing globally. So this is something that I would encourage the cities also to sign up to and look as a source of financing for their different resilience actions. So I tried to capture the myriad challenges and solutions, and happy to discuss further. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Somuya-san. So and then we have a very good full presentation, and then now we have several questions from the floor. Can you see the chat box? And then, I'm wondering whether we can invite the person who made the questions, like Marites Pangilinan, someone who has a host function. Can you invite her to make comment? Possible? Difficult? Sorry for the rapid request, but is it? Marites-san, are you there? Or may I introduce the question? So from the Marites Pangilinan, so is there an entity that could assist our local government in San Jose City, Nueva Ecija, Philippines, research and development, especially in the biodiversity aspect in forest and waterways, especially technical aspects including equipment, gadgets, and how we could tap on these entities, agencies. Our locality has no exposure with so little budget. Thank you. So this is the first question. Then next question is from the Patama Domurong Paul. So thank you very much. This is AWGESC National Focal Point from Thailand. I have learned from one of your presentation, and I couldn't agree more that there have been so many factors, including COVID-19. Only I would like to suggest that the bushmeat is also one important challenge. The local communities could play a key role in issuing appropriate measures to control it. So this is the second question. And then third one is from Hannah Yolanda. So dear panelists and moderator, is there any technology available to manage solid waste of medical PPE and face masks and face shields? Because COVID-19 pandemic and its associated public health measure protocols will stay with human beings for a while, medium to long term, I assume. Many thanks for your kind attention. Stay safe and healthy. Regards. Hannah Yolanda, Economic Specialist, U.S. ASEAN Connect. Thank you very much. Also, from Sugimoto-san, MOEJ, I would like to know the direct and indirect example of your advantage of SDGs preparedness on the response to COVID-19. As direct, if any specific projects support new normal. As indirect, if capacity or experience of intersectoral coordination or community development of SDGs could help any response to COVID. And then any other? From Marites Pangilinan-san, moreover, SDGs were in plan but not being implemented and pushed through given deeper attention. Thank you. Also, Romeo rates preparedness on the response to COVID-19 pandemic is just a short-term solution, but for the long-term goal is really to develop a vaccine to combat this pandemic. PH from PH Romelulas Plan Center. Oh, I found that Maritera Dasilaos, Miss Maritera, can you talk? Can you speak now? If you can speak, please share your view or question.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah. Thank you. Good morning, please.
Thank you for the interesting talks and sharings yesterday. I found that our quality has a very little improvement regarding SDGs. And my interest is, I am new in our local government. I'm a new employee. But then when I started evaluating our city, I found out that our local government has little exposure regarding research and development. So how could the presenters or this seminar how would they help us improving our research and development, since we have very little budget and the focus is not really in SDGs, especially in environmental management.
Thank you very much for raising up your voice from your area. Yeah. Then I think there are many similar cities faced similar situation, but thank you very much for share your voices. And then also I found that the Marites Pandilunan Mr. Can you also share your comments or questions?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. The many many presenters. I found them very interesting, and their presentations could help us. And how could we have their presentation so that we could echo it to our government to share it, and we have something to start with? Could we have copies of their presentation so that we could share it?
Yeah, definitely. When we have a agreement by all the presentator, we can secretariat definitely share the very important presentation with all of the participants. Yeah, thank you very much. So all the four panelists. So I believe that you can check all the questions in a chat box. So may I invite one by one to respond to these kinds of questions? Also, you can add your word on any your thoughts, maybe 2 minutes each, because we need to finish next 9 minutes. So in return, so then maybe I'd like to invite Mrs. Somuya first, then Armstrong, and then Annie, then finally Tritran. So Somuya, over to you.
Thank you, Dimitri-san. Yep. I would take, I think, the couple of questions on supporting biodiversity, on helping the cities with technical assistance. What we can, as ICLEI, local governments for sustainability, help with is in the Southeast Asia region. We have the Southeast Asia Secretariat, which is in Manila in Philippines, and there have been several case studies on improving biodiversity in urban spaces, looking at local biodiversity strategy action plans, looking at financially sustainable green cover improvement initiatives. And so we'll be happy to share these case studies with you. There are several programs also that provide technical assistance on these specific topics. You would know that there have been recent guidelines, especially on the SDG, to look at voluntary reporting from the local government sector. I just was also involved in that and one of the key authors of that. So these are certain initiatives that have been piloted in the Southeast Asia region, and maybe lessons from this is something that can be shared with the cities who are participating and have questions around this. And yes, we'll be happy to share slides and any other knowledge material case studies that are there. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Somuya. Okay, then next, Mr. Armstrong, please.
Yes, thank you. In EEC experience, we also face the problems about the budgets of the research and development. Also, what we solve this problem, we try to create the PPP, right? A PPP project is called public-private partnership, and people. I add more 1P. So if you have no budget, I think in some case, the people in this area, we have we have their own the research topic that or the problem that we want to solve, and we can match that with the private company, that they can use their technologies, or they can identify the technologies to solve the problem in the commercial levels. So I think it's one way that we can support that, and we need that for the social awareness is one of the main things in the EEC that we have to it's just we just doing now. And when we find that the local governments is a key role to set up the social awareness, particularly in terms of the environmental issue. So this is from the comments from EEC. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Armstrong. So then next, Annie, over to you.
Okay, if you are talking about the budget and the knowledge, we also lack on that. But we always believe in partnership with the stakeholders, ministry, and also the community. So we are still learning, and we are very happy to share. If anything or anybody want to share, let's work together, because I believe that our aim is the same.
whether in Malaysia, whether in India, whether anywhere. The aim is for the sustainability. So let's work together and share the knowledge together. Thank you.
Yeah, and Annie, may I ask one more thing? There is a question from Mr. Sugimoto that is how your preparedness to SDGs can help to tackle with the COVID-19, or how you are you develop the SDGs roadmap before this COVID-19 pandemic. And then how these kind of preparedness can help your policy, can help your capacity development. Do you have any observation?
Okay, during the COVID time, I mean the MCO, we still working and we actually using the internet to communicate, we still running a webinar, and also we still gather information from public because we are local authority. We still give service even though they shut down everything. We still have to collect the waste. We still have to give the whatever necessary needs for our public. So we still communicate with them. Of course, it's distract our SDG reports, our VLR reports, but we use other medium to meet the local and the stakeholders to gather the information and everything. So we still rely on the networking and internet, definitely.
Maybe so then such a preparedness, so you can develop the network before this pandemic. So then this network can help the good response to pandemic. This is my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Annie. So the last but not least, so then Ms. Thuy Tran, so you can summary all the discussion, please.
Thank you so much, Junichi-san, for this opportunity. I would pick one question from the participants, but also I think that will kind of sum up some other questions as well. The question is about the technology available to manage solid waste, especially medical PPE and face masks and face shield. I don't think that we should take this problem about waste out of the bigger problem of waste management that we're facing in all of Southeast Asia. We cannot address just this waste problem without looking at the bigger picture. So just to give you some figure, we did a research early this year. This is before COVID-19 happened, and we have this figure. We hope to publish it, but I can share with you now. The total economic losses of leaking plastic waste to the ocean in 2040 in ASEAN, in the 9 South Asian countries that we're looking at, is between $68 and $339 billion. This is the economic loss that we are looking at pre-COVID. So this is a problem that we have to address regardless of COVID-19, and this is also our long-term strategy. So again, we have to look at the waste pyramid from renew, recycle, recovery before we look at the final disposal to the ocean. All the waste will end up in the ocean. So again we have to look at it. And I think all the other questions that you have here related to COVID-19 have to be addressed in that sense, that there are bigger pictures, there are bigger problems that we need to address regardless of COVID-19. Okay, I still have 2 minutes.
No.
1 minute. Okay. Thank you. So I just close with that, and we have also been supporting especially the Philippines on the circular economy. So again, this is one example of how we have to address the bigger picture, and if it's allowed by the Secretariat, I can share the report on the circular economy in the Philippines with all the participants here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Thuy Tran. And then I appreciate all the 4 panelists, also the participants who make the question comments. Very kind of all of you. And then, yes, we are in the new era, new normal. So yeah, it's quite important timing for us to take the really new, but not new, but the kind of continuous, but the like a transforming approach. So thank you very much again, and then see you sometimes in Rio. So thank you very much. I will close this session now. Thank you. Arigato.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the speakers in the first session.